Hello and welcome to yet another amazing episode. My name is Jacinta, and like I promised you in the last episode, which if you have not watched, please go back and watch it, where I answered some questions about myself. I will be talking to you about my love life. I know this is going to be a very interesting conversation due to popular demand. Yes, some people have asked me about it. And also to put at rest to people who are always DMing me, some with phone numbers, some asking me for dates and all that. Let me just come and tell you the whole thing in black and white. So, are you ready to hear it? If you're ready, subscribe if this is your first time. If it is not, like the video, share it, and karibu sana. So, we already established that Jacinta is in a relationship. But did you know that Jacinta has been engaged for a while now? Yes, I am actually engaged. And like our Kenyan pastors say, to one man. Yes. And you will get to meet him very soon. And yeah, that is the story. I am actually engaged. I know you're waiting to hear me say bye, right? But no, I want to just be able to talk a bit about the engagement part because I have been asked. This is the first time I'm actually saying it live on camera and even on all my socials. So if you're hearing it, you're actually the first person to know that I have been engaged for a while. When did I get engaged? In 2023, actually. Yes, in the month of November. On the 14th, yes. And let me just share just a small snippet of the details. How was this? It was not I know someone is wondering, how did it happen? Why did it happen? How did you know that you were ready to say yes? And especially when you're coming from a past like the one that I've had where you have been in just handling toxic relationships, you might be seated there and wondering, will I ever find love again? And if it happens, how do I even know that I'm ready for it? So today I'll be talking to you about it and helping you to realize that it's really not as hard as you think, yeah? Even though there's some work that needs to be put in for you to be able to attract the right person. I'm not saying that he's perfect, but he's an amazing person and you're going to meet him, yes, because you, the YouTube family, actually the first people to hear this news, so you'll definitely be the first people to also know him. And as you know, Jacinta came from this toxic relationship and she has 3 children. And the thing that made me quit, I don't know if I have ever mentioned this. I know I have mentioned it in other interviews elsewhere. The thing that made me say that I'm done with this relationship, my past relationship with the father of my children, was the fact that at this particular time, he actually said that, which was actually the very end. You know, when people ask you, like, how did you know it was over? For me, it was just some simple words there. Some simple words, but carried the whole entire weight of the relationship. They were enough to make me go and never come back. They were enough to say enough is enough for me. That was actually the thing that broke the camel's back, yeah. So my ex then said that he was asked, we were always arguing. It was, like I always say, it was a very toxic one. It was full of abuse, physical, emotional. And there used to be this friend of ours, an elderly lady, maybe in her late 60s, who used to come and help to talk to us and just calm us down. And she came and she was like, what is always going on? You guys, have you even tried maybe talking to your parents? She asked my then ex, have you guys tried to even have you gone to the parents to ask for the blessings? In the African society, we have the traditional weddings where we call them rurashos. They're actually referred to, or they are seen as ways of going to ask for blessings from the parents, right? So she asked him that, and let me tell you, the response made me even forget the self-pity, the asking why this relationship is not working, because he said something. He said, you only buy something that you have tried on and it has fit you. What does that mean? He actually said it in Kikuyu. So by then, this is trying to translate it, meaning that I have been with this woman for all those years, close to 10 or 10 there around. I have 3 kids with this woman, but I do not feel like she is the right fit for me. Have you ever looked at someone like, am I just waking up right now, or what is going on? Because as women, we tend to forget ourselves when we get into relationships. We tend to just get in there and feel like this is the destination, like a marriage is a destination. Here to have kids, to support my husband, and that is all. So imagine somebody telling you that you're not it, and you have had with them 3 kids. In my head, I was like, I even asked him 3 kids later, like we had baby number 1, baby number 2, baby number 3, and the whole entire time you were not sure that it was me that you wanted to spend your life with. We spent year 1, 2, 3, all those years, and you were still not sure. So anyway, that's when it hit me like, wait a minute, who have I become? How have I let this person diminish any value of me to the point that now they're looking at me and thinking this person is not even worth me? Yeah? When somebody says that you're not worth them, you have to ask yourself, Kwani, what am I worth? It's like having money, but then you're told it's not even worth a penny, or it's not even worth 50 cents to buy a sweet. I don't even know whether we have sweets that are going for 50 cents right now. But back in my days growing up, we had sweets that used to go for 50 cents. So that is when it hit me that no, either I have lost myself or this person has lost value for me. And let me tell you, that's the worst place you can ever be at. And everything it was like a light bulb moment. It hit me like, this is why this person treats you like this. This is why this person has been treating you like this, because they do not value you. And the worst thing that you can do when somebody does not value you is not to value yourself. And that was the end for me. It was like, I'm done. I might have my 3 kids, but that does not mean that you cannot rise up again. And I want to tell this even to every woman who is seated there. Whether you have 2 or you have 1 or you have 4, sometimes society and even the ignorant men in our lives, and because that is something that he kept telling me, who's gonna take you with your 3 kids? Kids are not a burden, first of all. They're a blessing, they're a bundle of joy. And at the end of the day, for me also, that is something else. You need to ask yourself, what matters to you? Is it a career? Is it family? For me, family has always come first. I know I have said this a lot. My family has always come first. And I always used to tell myself, even if I am able to get all this wealth in the world, I accumulate all this wealth, I even become a billionaire, but my kids turn out to be nobodies, I will be a failure. Why? Because my family is my priority. So my kids have never felt like a burden. I always felt it doesn't matter whether I have 5 or 10. If I'm not happy, I will leave. So I cannot stay because of children. So that was never an issue about why I was staying. But I just did not think that somebody had devalued me to that extent. So when that happened, it got to this position where I decided, you know what? We cannot even discuss anything more anymore at this point, because your value, your respect, your worth as a woman, even there's an umbrella or a branch or a tree of self-love. Self-worth is the biggest of them all. It actually determines all other aspects of your life. And let me just say, despite everything that happened in my life, and if you do not know by now what has happened in my past, you need to read my book, Unbound. It's made me, there was just aspects that made me not fall, like not lose myself, like especially my value. And so I had to decide, Jacinta, this is not you. You can do better. And that is what I acted on. I remember I walked away with my kids. My youngest one was around 4 or 5 months there by that time. So you can imagine, you're not working. You have 3 kids with you. The youngest one still depends on you. She's feeding. You're wondering, what do I do with my life? But then that is how I got into coaching. Like they say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. I did not even know a thing about the world of coaching. I did not even know coaches exist. I actually thought that coaches were like football coaches, but that is how I got into the world of coaching. So I got inside there, I buried myself. Maybe that became like a distraction to me. I got the right amount of distraction. I distracted myself with the coaches, trying to build a business, trying to learn, trying to just integrate myself with the right people. They were the right people at that particular time, because if they did not come into my life at that particular time, I might have sat there wallowing in self-pity. And one of my coaches, there were no excuses. She was very tough. It was like things, you just have to get things done. Doesn't matter whether you have not slept, whether you've been crying yourself to sleep, whether you have a baby who has kept you up all night, you just had to get assignments and things done. So that is how I started my journey. And I used to have, like everyone, you've got priorities. Maybe first it's stability or it's a relationship. Whatever you are, give it your all. That is what I would say, because for me, that is what I gave my all. But then there would come to this particular time. Remember, in myself, family has always been a priority. So I used to tell myself, and I used to even say to myself, it doesn't matter how long I have been in that relationship, I still believed in marriages, I still believe in relationships. So it doesn't mean that simply because this one did not work out, that it reflects on other relationships. I had not really seen healthy relationships. I had not really seen like lasting relationships around me, but I just knew that there has to be relationships that work. And let me tell you something else, the power of speaking life to yourself and all the positivities. The whole world cannot be telling you negativities. The whole world cannot be calling you all the bad things and saying how you're a mean person. Because I remember even when I decided to walk out, there were friends who came and they were like, you're going to deprive your kids of their father's love. A father only loves his kids because he loves the mom. And I would like to know, comment in the comments below. Just tell me, do you think that a father's love is equivalent to the love that he has for the mother? Because according to my logic, I used to think that we have kids, you should love your children despite of me. And this is something that I've come to. I will give you findings of that are just my own observations from that topic, maybe in another episode. And I would just start doing my thing, because like I always say, if you've been in my master classes, you only attract who you are. I had been in relationships before because we had falling out. I had dated other people, but they were always the very, very same. You always end up dating the same devil, just a different face, if you do not work on yourself. You have to be able to identify, what is it about me that is making me attract these people? So this time I needed to just do things differently. And I will tell you about other experiences later. And I will even talk about dating and the do's and the don'ts in the next episode. So I would go on to just work on myself. I discovered things about me, the wounds that I had, childhood wounds that were making me attract these people who were just there to take, use and abuse, how my boundaries were shaky, how I did not even know who I was. Until I get to this particular time in my life where I feel like, you know what, I'm ready to date. And I did date. And I always say, enjoy whichever phase you're at in your life. If right now you're in a marriage, make the best out of it. If you're single, make the best out of it. Why? Because it is a stage in your life. It might end or it might disappear and you might never see it again, right? So I really enjoyed all the phases of my life, and I enjoyed my singlehood up until I met this person. Maybe we'll share our story with him together one day, but for me, how did I know he was the one for me? First of all, I didn't know the things that I was looking for. That is something else. You cannot, and like they always say, and I feel this is misplaced, it should not even be said that love finds you when you least expect it. I don't think that happens. So, and if it does, maybe in very few cases does it make sense. When you're looking for something, like if you want a job, what do? You get a CV, you get ready for interviews and all that, right? So the same thing, if you're looking for love, get ready, roll up your sleeves, start dating, get to know people. And when I say dating, I mean dating, not sleeping around. Dating is knowing people, is getting to know them. Just get yourself into that space. Do not have a list or expectations, but have characters or values that you know are non-negotiable. The non-negotiables for me that I knew this I could not compromise on. What you have to scrap away is your expectations, because I'll talk about that in the next video when I'm talking about dating. And I will just say, like I've said before, we will give our stories together when he's here, because I would not like to preempt, or maybe it wasn't even mutual, yeah? I'm sure you would want to know that. So he will, maybe in another episode, when he joins us, he can tell us about his side of the story, and I will also be able to tell about my side of the story. But let me just say that I did not know it was him when I first met him. I did not even know he would be him, even from our first date. Yeah, and that is something else that I came to learn. You see, the people that you meet and they give you butterflies and you're thinking these are the ones, most of the time they are not. Most of the time those are people who are talking to your attachments or your wounds, and they make you feel excited. The person for you is actually going to bring calmness and peace. They're not going to have your emotions going all over the place. You're not going to be in that roller coaster where today you're high, tomorrow you're low, or all that. And dating, especially in the modern times, hey, this is a story for another day, for the next episode. It can be messy. It has a lot of stories. But let me just end this here by telling any woman out there, especially if you have kids, having a child or children is not a death sentence. It does not make you any less of a woman. It does not mean that you still cannot get back into a relationship, that you still cannot have your happily ever after again. It doesn't mean that you cannot be loved again. Remember, one man's poison, I think, is another man's meat, something like that, yeah? So whatever happened in the past, learn to flip the pages of your life like a chapter. If the chapter with the first man in my life was the father of my kids is over, you turn the page. You cannot always keep it open, crying and thinking that this is it. Most of the time you have a whole entire book, but we are stuck on just one chapter. Learn to open the next chapter, and if you cannot do that, that is why you have coaches. That is why you have people to help you get unstuck. And some of those people are like me. I help women leave toxic relationships and actually find love once more, because we all want to be loved. We all want to feel love, and love with the right person is such a beautiful thing. There's a glow that comes with it. It's not even from any other thing. It's just from being loved, right? From being heard, from being seen. Some of the things that you were supposed to get, but you never knew that they actually existed. You do not know how many times I have waited for the past 1 year for just the shoe to drop, because you're like, is this for real? Especially when you've never been loved, right? Or you've not known what healthy love is. It can feel like it's not real, yeah? So just join me for in the next episode where I'll talk to you about dating. I told you the month of August is all about love. It's all about me being vulnerable, sharing my stories, and I'm just going to be really detailed. And I'm hoping that I am talking to someone out there. I'm talking to a woman out there who is thinking in this toxic relationship, thinking, I do not want to leave it because I do not think somebody else is going to love me. There are good men out there and they're willing to love you, and you do not have to compromise. You don't even have to stay in that relationship thinking that this is your last. You have so much waiting for you out there. If only I knew this earlier, my friend, I would have walked out, I think, at year 2 or, or even 1. But anyway, until next time, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Share this video and comment down below. Tell me what you would like to hear, and I'm waiting for the congratulation messages, though I know they are a bit too late, and you will get to understand why. But I really wish that every woman out there will know that there is more to life than just the toxic relationships. You can be loved right. You deserve to be loved right. You're amazing, and all this can happen. Whatever it is that you want it's on the other side of letting go and fear. And if you're stuck, reach out to me, DM me, comment down below. Let me know what you're struggling with, especially in terms of toxic relationship. That should not be an excuse why you're unhappy in this life. Yeah. So until next episode, bye bye.